Okay, there we go. Hello, everyone. We covered episode 1 yesterday. We covered about the EFG program, your roles as CECs, and we covered the role of NECO and how to get home energy assessments scheduled. Today, we are going to talk about the other three focus areas, which is heat pumps, rooftop solars, a community solar. We'll see how to explain these options to your neighbors and also guiding them towards the rebates and financial assistance that's available. And before we jump in, I just want to give you a quick heads up on how today will go. I have built three short quizzes, one after each major section, to help reinforce what we have covered. And some of the quiz questions might pull from what I say, not just what's on the slide. So feel free to take notes, or even better, just ask questions as we go. Um, okay, let's get started with heat pumps. So, what's a heat pump? Think of it as a two-way air conditioner that also heats your home. It is an all-in-one heating and cooling system that moves heat instead of generating it. In winter, it pulls heat from outside and brings it indoors. And in summer, it works in reverse, cooling your home by removing the heat. Heat pumps, they work the best when they are at constant low level. There are three factors which are important when installing or thinking about heat pumps. One is getting the house insulated properly. That's very important. Setting and forgetting a thermostat. And the third would be the sizing. That's very important. Keeping in mind on the area where the heat pump is getting installed, and how much heat or cooling it can provide. And something which I learned from Mike Strauss, a presentation on EAC, is that when you're talking to neighbors about heat pumps, not anyone, not everyone will think of, okay, heat pump sounds good, let's plan about it and let's get it installed. You always need to change it when needed. When you need a new furnace, you need a new boiler, you think about heat pump, you go electric. When you need a new hot water heater, you go electric, you install a heat pump. So it's important to plan ahead and keep in mind that the next upgrade can be a heat pump. Now, why do we recommend heat pumps to the residents? It provides both option. It is an all-in-one system, heating and cooling. It would reduce your reliance on fossil fuels. It will improve your air quality. You will have more savings. It will lower your utility bills. It's ideal for homes that are without central AC or those replacing old systems. And they're good models for cold climate. And we learn more in different types of heat pumps that what is the best for the cold climate temperatures. Do we have any questions so far?
So, Ariha, I just want to make sure that we are acknowledging, you said it's going to reduce utility bills. So let's always remember the conversation we had yesterday, which is actually we find that electricity bills often go up. And, this is what Mike and Dave were talking about yesterday in terms of the relative, the relative coefficients. So I think it's important to remember that heat pumps are definitely a savings over both oil and propane, but not generally a cost savings over natural gas or fossil gas.
Right. Thank you so much for adding to that. Mike, do you want to add something to that as well? I mean, to better explain how um, cost affect.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I have much to add. I think that if you're switching from natural gas, it you may end up paying more for energy in total, but you will also be getting air conditioning. So that's the balance you're going to have. If you're switching from oil or propane, you're probably going to win. You'll have lower costs as well. So, but in any case, your electric bill is going to go up because you're switching from something else. That bill, you're going to remove your gas bill or your propane bill or your oil bill, but your electric bill will go up regardless. And it's the question of how much more will go up than what you're losing on some other bill.
Okay, that's good to know. Thank you so much for adding your thoughts to it. Looking at the types of heat pump, if we start from the air source, they are ducted systems that can be installed and connected to a conventional air forced ductwork system that is typical of most American homes. A central air source heat pump can use the pre-existing ductwork in your home to deliver heating and cooling, and it also makes the installation even easier. The payback period for the air source heat pumps typically falls between 5 to 10 years, and annual savings can be around, I mean, it depends, especially when replacing electric resistance heating, with potential savings around $60 to $2,400. And there's a small video on air source heat pump and how it works. Let's watch it.
Hey, it's me, Dave, and this is a heat pump. It's an energy efficient heating and cooling system you can install at home.
Sorry, just want to confirm if the audio is okay.
Yeah, it's working.
Work? Here, let me show you. Your typical air source heat pump, like this mini split system, has two main components, an indoor and an outdoor unit, which are connected by a refrigerant line. To heat your home in the winter, the outdoor unit pulls heat from the air outside your home. Yes, believe it or not, even when it's cold, outside air still contains a certain amount of heat. The warm air then goes through a refrigerant coolant that is compressed to increase the temperature even more. This warm air is then pushed through to the home. In the summer, to cool your home, the process is reversed. The heat pump absorbs the warm air in your home and transfers it outside. The compressor circulates refrigerant to the indoor evaporator coil, and the refrigerant absorbs heat as it passes over the indoor air. The resulting cool and dehumidified air then gets blown back into the home. And that's how a heat pump works. The key here is that heat pumps don't generate heat, but instead they move it from one place to another, which is why heat pumps are so energy efficient. In fact, a heat pump can be up to 300% more efficient than electric baseboards. So if you already have electric heat, a heat pump can help you save on your energy bill. Less energy and more savings, I like. If you're switching from a fossil fuel-based heating source like a natural gas furnace, you'll be reducing your carbon footprint. Kind of like going from a size 18 down to a size 2. You get the idea. It's an environmentally friendly option, especially here in BC where we're powered by water. Plus, with rebates from Clean BC and BC Hydro, there's more to save.
Okay. Let's see the next type of heat pump, which is a mini split heat pump. They are usually the wall-mounted indoor units, which are more efficient than AC window units. They are safer than space heaters, and they're most commonly used for the spaces where it's not possible or economical to extend the ductwork. And for mini splits, a homeowner can expect the payback period anywhere between 3 to 5 years, and to save between $370 to $1,000 annually on their heating and cooling needs. And a small 2-minute video on mini splits as well.
Hey, it's Dave and Jacqueline here, talking about one of our favorite things, heat pumps, specifically mini split heat pumps.
I'm always excited to talk heat pumps. Now, you might know already that they can heat and cool, but what else should you know about mini splits? Here are 5 things to know.
So, number 1, mini splits are ductless heat pumps, which means they don't require any ducting. So they're simpler for a licensed contractor to install than a central system.
Totally. They feature an outdoor unit that gathers heat from the outside air, which is then transferred via refrigerant lines to one or more heads mounted inside to heat your home. In the summer, reverse that process. Boom, you're cooling your home too.
Second thing, and this one's not just specific to a mini split system, heat pumps are 300% more efficient than baseboard heaters. Heat pumps don't create heat, they move warm air from one place to another. So for every unit of energy in, a heat pump gives you 3 units of energy out. That's what makes them so efficient.
So efficient. Okay, number 3. Mini splits can either be single zone or multi-zone. Single meaning there's just one indoor unit connected to an outdoor unit. And this could be a great option if you have a smaller home or if you're in an open concept area. You get the idea.
Multi-splits consist of 2 or more indoor units connected to a single outdoor unit. Each indoor unit component can function independently at different temperatures than the other one, despite being connected to a single outdoor unit.
Hey, that's pretty cool. Okay, on to the 4th. Mini splits, they're a great option for many types of homes. They can be installed in a new build or they can replace an existing heating system in an older home.
That's right. Typically, they're installed to replace electric baseboard heaters since they don't require any ducting, but can also be a good option for smaller homes looking to switch from fossil fuel heating, like a natural gas furnace. And lastly, to ensure you get the most out of your mini split, make sure you get expert advice from a licensed contractor.
Great point. Now, heat pumps, they have to be correctly sized to meet your home's individual heating needs. You have to take into account where you live and make sure that your heat pump is installed in the right place.
And for that, an experienced licensed contractor can help determine the right unit and setup for your home.
Boom. There you have it. I remain pumped about heat pumps. I don't know how you're feeling.
Ditto.
Okay. Coming back to our third heat pump type is ground source or geothermal heat pumps. They are the most effective and efficient in areas with extreme climates, especially Maine. I was reading that at Maine they install mostly ground source or try to install mostly ground source. Ground source heat pumps offer reliable heating and cooling year round. They are especially easier to sorry, I forgot what my thought. Sorry about that. They are especially beneficial when the Earth's constant temperature makes it easier to extract heat, and they can also be efficient. But mostly one of the disadvantages is they are quite costly to install. They have higher upfront cost than other HVAC systems. And they're good for high efficiency and larger homes. And one more video on geothermal.
Thinking about going solar, but well, the key component for any of these geothermal heat pumps is to have some interaction with the ground, so it needs some sort of well. One type of well is a closed loop filled with antifreeze that circulates horizontally about 5 to 10 feet below the surface. Or you can install the same closed loop of antifreeze vertically into a well that may go down hundreds of feet. A third option is to have an open loop in which groundwater, not antifreeze, is pumped out of the ground through the heat pump and then returned to the ground. The key for any of these loops, though, is that they're always going to find 50-degree temperature, both winter and summer, under the ground.
Yeah, but I don't know many people who think that 50 degrees is a comfortable temperature to keep the house in the winter.
Right, but that's where the heat pump comes in. We're going to use the basic refrigeration cycle that we see in every window air conditioner, every refrigerator, even to cool our cars, to use that 50-degree water to make your house comfortable. The water or antifreeze is pumped into the heat pump, and in the winter, the heat is transferred to a closed loop of liquid refrigerant. That refrigerant now goes into a compressor, which uses electricity to compress the liquid refrigerant, turning it into a gas and making it very hot, maybe 130 to 150 degrees. In a typical forced air application, air is blown across the coils of that hot gas, heating the house. The refrigerant is then cooled by the air, and it turns back into a liquid, and the process repeats. The same equipment can be used to cool the house in the summer, simply by pumping the refrigerant in the opposite direction.
All right, so I get the theory of how they work, but what do the systems look like?
Well, recently I took a homeowner to see one of these geothermal systems in operation. So we got an email from you, curious about geothermal heat pumps, and you're building a new house.
That's right. I just recently bought some property on a lake and I'm
Right.
in the planning stage of the heating system.
Well, I thought I would bring you here. This homeowner, about 6 years ago, decided to put in a geothermal heat pump. That's a ground source heat pump. Now, most people might know a heat pump because it might have equipment like this on the outside. This is called a condenser. Now, when it's in air conditioning mode, heat is absorbed from inside the building into these refrigerant lines and it dumps to outside. When it's a heat pump, it also can reverse, and that actually can be looking for heat from outside to be absorbed into the refrigerant to go into the building. The problem is it gets really cold here and there's not much heat to be had. How cold does it get around here?
It's freezing most of the time
That's
in the
right.
winter.
So now with geothermal, we actually could use the heat that is below our feet, down under the ground. Once you get down to 4 or 5 feet down, it's about 45 to 50 degrees down there. So now you got to figure out how you're going to collect that energy. So you could put a bunch of pipes down 5 feet down to collect the energy. You could do a closed loop, but this homeowner chose to put a well like this. This is actually about 400 feet down. At the very bottom of it, there's a pump. And it's going to take that water and pump it up and go into the house where we can use it to heat the building. Let me show you. The pipe actually comes into right here. So here's that 50-degree water that's going to come in, comes across the ceiling, and now it goes right over to here, and it comes down into this heat pump right here. Now, inside this heat pump, there's a heat exchanger, and there's the basic refrigeration equipment that we see in every refrigerator or air conditioner. So what happens is that heat exchanger picks up that 50-degree temperature, and now it gets absorbed into the refrigerant. Now, when that refrigerant gets compressed and get really hot, that 50 can be 120 or 130 degrees. So now that hotter refrigerant comes over here, and now when that air blows across it, it can actually heat the air enough to heat the building. Refrigerant gets cooler, goes back to that 50-degree water, picks up more temperature, and the cycle continues. In the summer, it's just the opposite. It picks up heat from inside the building. Now it takes it back and it dumps all that heat down under the ground and back into another well outside.
So that was a bit of technical areas of how the geothermal heat pump works. And then coming back to our last type of heat pump, which is a water heater. So a heat pump water heater moves heat from one place to another to heat water, similar to how a refrigerator works in reverse. Instead of generating heat like a traditional water heater, it pulls the heat from the surroundings air and transfers it to the water in a storage tank. For a cost savings, a family of 4, for example, could save an estimated of $550 per year on the energy bill by using a heat pump water heater. So Energy Star estimates that the average payback period for the water heaters can be seen around 3 to 6 years.
So the ground source geothermal is mostly for people who want to go completely off the grid, right? Because you're not attached to any, utility company. It is, your house. So one person I know who did it, he wants to just be completely off the grid. So it's really expensive, right?
I know it is expensive, but I'm not sure if it gets you completely off the grid.
If you have solar, it does. If you have your own solar.
If you're generating enough electricity, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, just asking.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that. If you have enough electricity that you're generating on site, then yes, you can go off the grid with it.
Awesome. I see Mike Spiro is here. Hey, Mike.
Hey, sorry I'm late.
No worries. Thank you for joining. I just want to stop here and share a pre-event survey with you. It would take you 2 minutes. I will put it in the chat. And if you can take the survey.
This is for Mike.
For Mike Spiro.
Okay, I'll do it now.
Okay, great. Bernie finds his garage is colder now that he has a heat pump water heater. I thought it was funny. Okay, let's talk about massive rebates for heat pumps. So it has up to $10,000 in rebates available per home for the market rate. And I have put here links for different types of heat pumps. This takes you directly to the MassSave page. And if you scroll to the bottom, you can see an estimated cost example. It shows net project cost. So there's massive rebate for whole home. There's a $10,000, and for a partial home, it has $1,250 per ton, but up to $10,000. So this would be the net project cost approximate for a air source heat pump. And for the ground source, there's up to $15,000 rebates. And the cost example you see here is the net project cost to the resident would be $20,300. And for the water heaters, the net project cost would be $1,715. So there's federal tax credit and mass save rebate, $750. And we can read about the federal tax credit here. The tax credit also allows an annual a credit up to $600 for electrical panel upgrades.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, so I mean, if I could just interject, I mean, the take home here is that, there are so many different varieties of heat pumps, sizing depending on the house size of the home. I mean, so these are just what Ariha was sharing are just kind of approximate numbers. But the main point is that Mass Save does provide support in the form of incentives and the form of rebates for all kinds of for all varieties of heat pumps at different levels. The other thing that I just want to mention is that we just kind of went really quickly over heat pump water heaters. There are, again, multiple varieties of heat pump water heaters. I mean, all of this, when you get into heat pumps, it's all quite complex, and there's no way to cover everything, in a short training this afternoon. But I think, as you're talking with potential customers or, potential people who, not customers, but clients who are interested, I think this is heat pumps are particularly an area where it's good to get referrals, good to get coaching, good to spend time getting the information, because it's a complex, and as I'm sure Mike and others can attest, the Heat Smart Alliance does a whole training for coaches. So the heat pump area is not a simple one to describe or a simple one to give information on, and so people really should be consulting somebody who's going to help them with the process.
Quick question. Are there heat pump clothes dryers?
Yes, there are. Yes, there are.
Okay.
And I know very little about them, but I do know that they exist.
Okay.
The other area of heat pumps, and Mike, you took the Heat Smart Alliance heat pump coaching training, didn't you? The other thing about new technologies besides heat pump dryers, there are now also they're coming onto the market, heat pump window units. And so that is now going to be a more versatile option, just like the window air conditioners. There are now just coming onto the market heat pump window units that could be used in combination with, for example, a fossil fuel system. So there's a lot of flexibility, but there is also a lot to know about heat pumps. So I'm feeling a little self-conscious that we're just kind of making it's appearing very simplistic, but in fact there's a lot to know.
Thank you, Nathan. We are keeping it very high level for the training session, but I will be following up with a lot of links, resources, sharing about different courses if you want to learn more in detail about heat pump. And these are the Mass Save rebates. You can always visit the Mass Save website when you're talking to the residents, and it would be helpful for them to know what rebates and incentives are available. We talked about the Mass Save 0% heat loan program yesterday. It also applies to all the heat pumps, all the different types of heat pumps. And of course, one must complete the home energy assessment first through Mass Save to get eligible for these different kinds of rebates. And we have the federal a tax credit as well. One can get up to $2,000 back as under a residential clean energy credit. It applies to the qualified heat pumps only. I will add more links to that, how to check which heat pumps qualify. And then as a CEC, you can let the residents know that they can claim the tax credits when they file their taxes, and it is combined with the massive rebates. In the Energy for Generations program, we have a $200 incentive as a bonus, which the city of Newburyport will be providing to the first 21 households who install a heat pump. They would receive the $200 bonus. It is provided directly by the city, and it can really help get the word out and have some additional incentive if someone installs a heat pump. And then as a CEC, when and how to recommend heat pumps to someone after the home energy assessment is done, after the house is properly insulated, NECO will help check, confirm the eligibility. They will recommend the system type, depends on the area where you are trying to install the heat pump. And NECO will also help explain and complete the paperwork. But when like NECO is coming as a CEC, it would be great for some time to do the hand holding and telling the resident about some of the rebates available. And the right time would be when a resident is replacing an old system or thinking of adding a AC. And I have heard this say a lot by some of the experts that whenever someone is considering installing a heat pump, they should start with a trial of one zone if they're unsure how the system works. As CECs, it would be great if you're using peer stories, if any of you have installed heat pumps, if you know someone who has installed heat pumps. As a part of our EFG website, we will be soon starting to collect testimonials from you or anyone you know, so we can share success examples with the residents. We can emphasize the comfort, cost savings, and of course, being letting them aware of what the cost would look like for them. And then, yes, recommending to try from one zone, one room, if they are hesitant. I want to stop here and see if anyone has any questions or anyone wants to add something to the heat pumps section.
Nope.
So I do have a question, and I don't know, Variha, you'll know the answer to this. Mike might. One zone, I mean, explain how that would work, because you're going to have to install the compressor anyway. So how do you install? I mean, if you want to try it, you install one zone, and then if you like it, you install multiple zones.
Oh,
But what if you don't like it?
sorry.
I am thinking of mini splits for that, but if Mike has anything to add to it, I mean,
Mike, do you have something to add?
Me, Mike, or Mike Strauss?
Thanks.
Either one.
I think
Yeah.
I
go ahead.
found it sort of odd that you would try one zone first, but maybe Mike knows something.
Well, it could be like my in-laws, for example, they don't have central air conditioning, but they wanted it at minimum as a starting point for their bedroom. So they didn't want to deal with like a window unit. It was going to be too loud. So they just got like a 1-to-1 mini split for their bedroom. And as sort of a way to see like, oh, might we want a larger system for more rooms in the house in the future? Like, and that's sort of their little test for themselves. And so it'll be too late now in the future to like have other rooms be a part of that same zone as their bedroom. Like they'll need another outdoor compressor for that, but it got them, it solved some of the problem they were trying to solve and was their way of testing it, if that's what you meant.
Now, isn't it true though that when heat pumps started, more people were looking at them as air conditioning systems and a backup to your regular heating? That's kind of, I'm saying 10 years ago, that's kind of how it was proposed to me.
Yeah, well, I know only more recently have they come out with heat pumps that can operate well in the winter in cold climates. So I think that's not wrong. That like
Okay.
when it first came out, it was more so air conditioning focused or like heat if you're in a warmer climate, but like it was only more recently that a unit that could heat in a Boston winter, became affordable.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Ye-
yeah. I can also, again, not from personal experience, but corroborate that having talked to, we work closely with the Heat Smart Alliance, and Steve Bright, who's one of the main, he's one of the founders and one of the main lead people trainers at the Heat Smart Alliance. Basically did reassure us that like, yes, no, now on the market, there are currently are cold climate heat pumps, but again, they have to be sized correctly. But he also said for people who are unsure that before removing your fossil system, your fossil heating system, you can actually operate heat pumps as a hybrid to a fossil heating, fossil heat source. In other words, you don't have to commit all the way until you really have determined that yes, the heat pump is going to be sufficient to, you're going to be sufficient deliver sufficient warmth in on extremely cold days. But
I think you have to be careful there are different options. So if you have a fossil burning furnace or boiler system, and you say, I'm going to add mini splits to my home, well, you can just, you could leave your fossil fuel system there, add the mini splits, and then figure out some way of controlling the two and see what works well. If you've got a forced air system in your house and you're saying, well, I'm going to use a heat pump and tie into that forced air system, you may need to replace the furnace.
yeah,
So you're buying a furnace and a heat pump and a plenum system that deals with both of them. And
yeah,
it does give you the air conditioning, but that's going to be another level.
yeah, a lot more complex. No, you're right about that. You're right about that.
So there are different, depending how you do it. And I know, and again, like you were saying, this goes back about 10 years. I had some estimates for heat pumps, and I spoke to two companies, and neither of them recommended removing the fossil fuel system. They both at that time said, either you're going to add mini splits and keep your furnace, or we're going to replace your furnace and put in a combination system.
Right.
Was then.
That was then. I just think that it's more,
Yeah.
what we're talking about now is that next step of technology.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, no.
Quiz. I will drop the link in the chat. We will do it just like yesterday. If you have a phone near you, that would
I gotta get my phone.
Okay, run Mike. So you can have another device you can use on that, but if not possible, feel free to open a new tab in the same browser. And I'll drop this link in the chat.
So is this not the same? Join my quiz. This is not the same as yesterday.
It's the same link, but there will be a new code to join the link, to join the quiz.
But yesterday we were on Quiz, and now we're on Join My Quiz. Are they different?
We did two though, didn't we? Two different things.
Yesterday it was just one. I think you're talking about the pre-event survey.
Okay, anyway.
Yeah, but Nathan, it is the same platform we used.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, I
And
have my phone.
have you given us the code?
Yeah, we need the code.
Yes, this is the code. 713741.
Wait a second. I'm like lost. What I got sent to me was the pre-event survey. I'm sorry, I must have screwed up. Let me go back.
Do you want me to drop the link again in the chat?
Yeah, please, because I just lost my Zoom. Where? Sorry, I'm behind now. Okay. Okay.
Okay, we are waiting for Michael and Nikki.
Okay, what was the code again, please?
It's 713741. Is this you, Nikki?
I have not, it hasn't gone through. 713741.
I think this is
Somebody entered the code and that's now their name.
That's what happened to me yesterday. I
Is
have
that
a name.
you?
I'm just a code.
Huh, somehow, that could be me, but I didn't put,
Huh, worked yesterday. I don't know why it's doing it.
So Nikki, are you entered?
No, it just says enter a joint code to participate, and I did, and it won't let me in.
Okay, let me share this link with you. I think if you click on this, you should be able to come in directly.
Where am I?
Okay, perfect. Let's start. We got 3 responses.
I lost the link somehow.
You want me to share the link, Mike?
I guess, yeah,
Okay,
it seems my phone decided to drop out.
okay.
So it's in the chat.
It's in the chat, yes. You can just open a new browser on your computer.
Yeah.
And on mine, I know what the right answer was. I was just clicking on it, but where do you put the answer?
Mhm.
Ariad, do you hear me?
It didn't.
Tap on it.
Yes, Molly.
I did. Oh, maybe I clicked on it too much.
Oh no. You overclicked your answer.
I don't know. It didn't show up, I noticed. We'll see what happens on the next one.
Yeah, let's keep going.
I'm just waiting for
Oh, sorry.
Mike. Yes.
Or Mike.
Seem to be letting me join.
Mm.
I hit join now and all right, let me try this on a different
Oh, here
browser.
goes the next one. We're gonna go without you, Mike.
All
See?
right.
Well, this is a repeat of the other.
Yes, I just restarted the.
Okay,
Oh, okay.
Mike.
Well, it's the red one, but I
Okay.
Okay.
Good question.
Yeah, mine's not working for whatever reason.
I want to pause here. I see Molly. Is the link working for you?
I'm getting all the questions and I see the answer. I mean, I'm clicking on the answer, but it's
Yeah,
not
I see
accepting
there
it.
are no responses from you.
Yeah, I don't know why. I'm clicking on it and it's just not working. I don't know why.
Do you want to
Maybe we should move on and then we'll take the second quiz.
Yeah, we already aced this one, so I mean, we know we're gonna win.
Right.
Let's Ariha,
Yeah, I
let's
would just
move
keep
on.
going.
Yeah, let's move on.
I've tried both Chrome and Microsoft Edge, and neither one let me in.
That's weird.
We'll see in
Yeah.
the
It worked really easy. Didn't we use a scan yesterday?
Yeah, I tried that on my phone, and then my phone lost it.
Okay, next question.
Okay. Let's start with rooftop solar. So, rooftop solar lets the homeowners generate their own electricity from the sun by installing solar panels on their roofs. These panels can convert the sunlight into electricity that powers the home, and any excess power goes back to the grid. And this process is called net metering. Through this, you can earn credits through sending the electricity back to the grid. And it is mostly best for the homes which are unshaded and have south-facing roofs. It would be the best fit for homeowners, definitely not renters or condo dwellers. Anyone who is planning to stay in their homes for long term. One point which I did not add here is that it would be good to mention that it would help increase the property value of your house. Anyone who has a solid roof condition, mainly like 10 plus years, are left for the roof life and have a good exposure. And again, the homes are unshaded and south facing roofs would be great. It's not suitable for shaded and heavily angled roofs. Any public housing or buildings where a residents they don't pay their electric bills. And this I have shared in the first session as well, that this program um, does not apply or won't be able to help anyone who are not paying their bills. So, residents without financial ability to make the upfront investment, this is not an option, a good option for them.
I just looked at on that. It also, while it increases the value of home, it does not increase the assessment of the home in Massachusetts for tax purposes.
Oh, is that right?
Really?
That's great. So a bit of the walkthrough on what actually happens when someone decides to install a rooftop solar. The first step is site assessment. A solar provider would come and evaluate the roof condition. They would check if the roof is in the good shape, if it is mostly free of shade, or especially from any trees, any chimneys, or is it oriented in a direction that will capture a lot of sunlight. The next step would be system design. If the home checks out, the provider will provide with a custom system design. It will include the number of panels and the layout of the solar panels that will be installed. It involves an inverter which converts the DC electricity from the panels to a usable AC electricity for the home. And there's a racking system to which safely attach the panels to the roof, and they will also size the system accordingly. The third step is permitting and installation. So once the design is finalized, the solar company handles the permits with the city and the utility. Installation itself usually only takes around 1 to 2 days of work, depending on the roof site and a complexity. The next is a connection to grid. So after installation, the system is connected to the utility grid, and this is what enables net metering, which means that any excess electricity the home produces goes back to the grid, and the homeowner will earn bill credits for their electricity that goes out. The last step is system monitoring. This is most modern solar systems. They come with an app or a website where the homeowners can track their energy production. So in short, rooftop solar is a process that starts with an assessment, includes a custom design by the provider, and then a connection to the grid and system monitoring. Does anyone have any questions so far?
No,
Okay. Let's talk about incentives, because this is what people, this is what, sorry. Yep. So first is the federal solar tax credit. There's something called residential clean energy credit, abbreviated as REC, and sometimes it is called federal solar tax credit, ITC. So this has 30% of the total system cost you can get as a tax credit. It would include panels, inverter, batteries, and it has no cap. So you can claim your 30% of the total cost of your solar system. And for the SMART program, at the state level, Mass has a program called the Solar Massachusetts Renewable Target. This offers monthly payments for the solar energy of your system, solar energy for your system that produces. So on top of reducing your electric bill, you can actually get paid by the state for generating clean power. And then last, I want to mention about net metering. We have talked about this, but again, you can earn utility bill credits, and I just have a 1-minute video which would explain it the best.
How does net metering work? If you're thinking about going solar, you might be wondering how you're supposed to keep your home powered when the sun isn't shining. Thanks to a policy called net metering, you don't have to worry about your home going dark. When the sun is shining during the day, your solar panels will make lots of electricity. If you're making more than you need, your electric meter will run backwards because you're actually sending that excess energy back to the grid. In exchange, your utility gives you credits on your electric bill for all the power you sent them. Then, at night, when your panels aren't producing electricity, you can use the credits you've stored up to get electricity from your utility and power your home. If your panels haven't produced enough energy to meet your needs, don't worry. You can always buy the extra from your utility. Don't expect to get a check in the mail if you produce more solar power than you need. In most cases, you'll get credits on your bill, but your utility won't pay you for them. The specifics of net metering depend on your utility company, and we recommend you call them for further details. Energy Sage, smarter energy decision.
So this was the concept of net metering. Do we have any questions so far?
Ariha,
Yep.
one thing, at our Energy Advisory Committee meeting last night, everyone was there. Don Walters would like to be an energy coach, but just on the solar piece.
Okay.
Is that possible?
Yes, of course. Why not?
Sure.
He can be our solar expert.
Yes,
Sure.
that'd be great. And then Mike, do you want to do energy coaching? Mike Spiro, do you want to be energy coach overall, or do you want to specify?
Yeah, I can do it overall.
Okay.
Thanks, Mike. But you're going to be our go-to for all community solar questions.
Yeah, for
Sounds
sure.
good. Don probably knows more about community solar than I do. And
Oh, really?
But yeah, he was former Nexamp.
Oh, I see. Okay,
yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
We got a whole Nexamp contingency on the
Yes.
Advisory Committee.
Lucky us.
Yeah.
Yep. While we are on that, Mike, can you tell us how much is the wait time right now for a community solar at Nexamp?
That's a great question. Fabian, I'll forward you an email I sent to Fabian yesterday with more detail on that.
Sure. Yeah, it would be good for all the CECs to know if we are talking about community solar, to also tell residents that there's a wait time with Nexamp. I will be talking more later on community
Oh,
solar.
okay. You just meant for this group. All right, I'll paste my response in here and then I can speak to it later.
Sure. Okay. Ways to go solar. Here are some of the financing options. So first, there's buying the system either with cash or with loan. It is a bigger upfront investment here, but it is good to let residents know about this, that they can get the most savings long term and full ownership if they are paying upfront cost. Second, there's a Mass Solar Loan. That's a special program in Mass offering low interest loans, and people can pay monthly, but they still own the system in the end.
Do you know where they go to get that?
For Mass Solar Loan, I think there are some local institutions that provide that, but I need to find more about Newburyport.
Okay.
And then there's leasing or a PPA, which is called Power Purchase Agreement. This is when the solar company owns the system, they installs it for free, and the residents, they pay a lower savings. They pay a fixed monthly rate of the solar electricity that it generates. So it has lower savings, but it has a zero upfront cost. So the best option, it can depend on anyone's financial situation, but it would be good for us as CECs to let the options know. And then I have combined here some of the links of how to check the solar panel cost. This is by Energy Sage. And they have divided it by the system size and the system cost, and then after the federal tax credits. And then they have also mentioned here the payback period, the year savings, and the cost per watt.
That looks aggressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, does it?
Yeah. I'd say it's
Because
probably
around-
more.
because
What do
You
you
don't
think it,
usually
it's
get
more
that.
like what?
I'd say it's more like 10 years would be an average payback period.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
10 years.
Wow.
I'm surprised. It looks like it's about $3 a watt. Is that about right these days?
I can go back and look at what mine was, but like there's a big range. Like if you go through on Energy Sage, you can get some very much like bottom of the barrel prices, where you'd probably have a payback like this, and then, some more premium prices where you'd maybe have more of that 10-year payback period.
And why is that? Is that because of the systems that they're quoting, or? Is it
Yeah,
just-
and like the as with any contractor, it's like the quality and
Okay.
so like with mine, for example, they ran the conduit like through the roof, through down into my basement so that there's not like the silver conduit on the
Yeah.
running along the outside of the house, and the racking is black instead of silver, so you don't have the like ugly like silver outline around the panels, and so like we paid a little bit more for things like that.
Are you saying the
like, all right,
panels?
if you just want the cheapest possible system, then
Right. Would the panels and the inverters be subpar, would you say, or not as
no,
good?
I mean, because that's like part of the payback period, right? If you're getting like low quality panels, they're not going to be producing as much, then you won't get
Right.
your payback as quickly. But yeah, maybe with a cheaper one, it's more likely that a panel malfunctions or breaks or something, and then they have to come fix it. And how reliable can they be to come back and fix it, or
Okay.
there's good, as with, like I said, as with any contractor, there's good ones and bad ones.
So would you suggest that people do this Energy Sage comparison, or should they just go right to some contractors?
I mean, how would I answer that? I would say that like the best contractors are not on Energy Sage
Right.
because they're doing a good job. They're getting lots of referrals. They don't need to pay, to be listed on sites like Energy Sage.
Right.
Because they're saying, people like me are saying, oh, I love my system for all the reasons I just mentioned, and I'm recommending it to Molly.
Who did you use?
I used Revision Energy.
Okay.
They're
And
like
who else in this area would you recommend?
I could put together like a little list.
Yeah, that might be good.
But yeah, revision I think is sort of like the um sort of the best I think they're the biggest actually,
Right,
like
the biggest, yeah.
regional player that's not like Sonova or Sunrun or Tesla.
And Sunbug bought them, right?
No, the other way
The
around.
other way around.
Oh, the other way around. Okay.
Yeah.
Revision bought Sunbug.
No, I thought Sunbug was bigger.
But yeah, then there's also like, oh, are you worried that if you pick just like a small one-man shop guy that maybe he goes out of business with like interest rates and stuff, and then if he goes out of business, who's the one servicing it? So there's like all these factors beyond just the payback period.
Right.
Yeah.
That would be really helpful to have a list of vendors around Newburyport, and especially if we have taken service from them, and what I was mentioning in the testimonials for the website. I think to also list the vendors, sharing about the personal experience can help weigh a lot if you're talking.
Yeah, that would be good.
Okay. Yeah, so there are some links which I added, and this is the tool which I was talking about yesterday as well. Putting in the information, the zip code for Newburyport, household income, how's your tax filing status, and then viewing results. And if we select here solar, so we can also, as CECs, look at the rebates applied to the person based on their income, and what we can share about the rebates. Then who to refer to for solar right now? While I was researching, I know Energy Sage, and then Mass CEC. This is the website I have added here for Clean Energy Lives Here. It is created by Mass CEC. It's a trusted educational info, which
Yeah,
can
they're very good.
to learn more. Yep.
These are live links in the PowerPoint, right?
Yes, these are. I will be sharing in a follow-up email once we are done with the trainings. And then Nico, they also just started providing solar installations recently. So, I mean, after the home energy assessment is done, one can choose to take the services from Nico if they think the quotes are right, or they can opt for anyone they would like to work with. And then some of the conversations as CECs one can have with the residents about if they own the home, how their roof looks like, letting them know about the investment, how it would look like, and if they're planning to stay in their home for several years. Bridge to action and letting them know what a solar installation would look like. Having a home energy assessment would be great. It would have them qualify for rebates. And alternative options would be if rooftop solar is not right for them, then definitely sharing them about a community solar, which can help them save the money and also support clean energy. Do we have any questions so far?
No.
Oh, looks great.
Okay. Are we ready for a quiz?
So I'm going to suggest that we do all the quizzes at the end, because then there's all the time taking getting on and off. Is that okay, Ariha?
Yeah, sure.
And then we can just do all of them at the end.
Okay, sounds good.
If we can remember them that way.
That was the
Or
point.
if you want to take them now, let's take them now.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I mean, whatever. That's why she set it up that way.
I was more just thinking about the time taken on, getting on and off the system, and so if we can consolidate them.
Okay. Let's move to a community solar. And Mike, if you feel anything to add, feel free to just jump in while I'm talking and explaining. Because I will be talking about Nexamp as well, so it would be great for you to share a bit about Nexamp and how things work there. Okay, so the best way to explain someone what a community solar is by telling them it is a subscription-based model. It is a great option for people who can't or don't want to install solar panels on their roof, but they still want to save money. It is ideal for renters, condo owners, homes with shaded or older roofs, and in short, actually, it is ideal for anyone and everyone who want to subscribe to it. How it works is you subscribe to a local solar farm, and you can receive credits on your electric bill with the discounts. Some of the key benefits of a community solar, they save 10 to anywhere between 10 to 15% on electricity every month. There are no panels, no upfront cost or equipment on the property. There's no maintenance or cancellation fees. There might be, but it also depends if you are giving the company a prior notice to cancel. It is open to both homeowners, renters, low-income residents. They may qualify for greater discounts. Normally, anyone on market rate would get somewhere around 10%, and income eligible, they can get around 20% as well. It has a really quick and simple enrollment process. These are some of the key benefits.
Quick question, Aria. It says save 10 to 15% on your electricity costs. Now, that's not the total bill, that's just the rate, right? So it would be 10 to 15% on the rate, not your total bill.
Yeah, Mike,
It
you
is
wanna
the
clarify?
total bill, actually. The credits offset the delivery and the supply charges.
Great,
But you don't necessarily save 10 to 15% every single month.
right?
I'd say it more so that you save 10 to 15% over the course of a year,
Yeah,
because in some months, you're actually paying more. Because like in the summer, you'll be getting a lot of credit. And the amount that you'll pay for those credits will probably be more than what you would have paid otherwise, so that then that credit can serve you on your bills in the winter. So that's definitely something that trips people up, where they're like, oh, I'm paying more. I thought I was supposed to be saving. Well, it's like, yeah, you'll save over the course of the year, but not necessarily every specific month.
Good input, thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Let's see how the billing works here. So if we break this down in a really simple way, imagine your electric bill for the month is 110. You are signed up for a community solar, so you get $100 credit from the solar farm. That credit shows up on your regular utility bill. So now instead of owing $110, you only owe $10 to your utility company. But there's a second step to it. Because you are paying for those credits through a Nexamp, let's say, the solar provider, they send you a second bill, but they apply a discount, which is usually 10 to 15% of the credits you used. So instead of paying $100 for those credits, you only pay between $85 to $90 depending on the agreement. So here's the bottom line. You paid $10 to the utility and $85 to $90 to Nexamp. So your total for the month is $95 to $100 instead of 110. So that's real savings, and over the course of the year, it adds up.
And so, yeah, what I meant was like in a summer month, say your utility bill is $110, you might get like $300 worth of community solar credit. And the, 85% off the 300 is still way more than the 110. So in that month, you wouldn't really be saving, you'd be paying more, but then you realize those savings in the winter, essentially. You're like prepaying for your winter electricity in the summer,
Yeah.
essentially.
Right, and people get concerned about all the buildup of the credits,
Yeah.
but they can readjust that, if they see that their usage is really out of whack with it. Mike, what's the discount that we have right now? Is it 10 or 15, or what's being, and also what's-
Nexamp does 12.5. So yeah, like I think you mean 10 to 15%, like depending on the provider, but like generally each provider is consistent with all customers.
Okay, so do you know what is ours 10 or 15?
12 and a half.
12 and a half. Okay, okay.
Is this for everyone, Mike, or are there additional if someone is income eligible?
Oh yeah, that's just like the market rate. And yeah, it's higher than that if for um LMI.
Okay.
Which I don't actually know off the top of my head what that is in Massachusetts.
Typically 20, but it could vary. I don't know
Yeah.
what it is up in your.
Like in some states, it's like 50 for us. So I just don't know what it is for
Yeah.
Massachusetts specifically.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I put in some links here for Nexamp and Energy Sage and the process which I found on their respective websites on how to sign up. When you go to the website, they ask for the zip code, utility provider, then you upload your bill, and you can browse through some of the options they provide, which I found in Energy Sage. Sorry.
Does Energy Sage have any availability for community solar, do you know?
I think they do. I did not went to the point when I'm finally subscribing, but they asked for this information here. I put on a Newbury report and they asked what's the average electric bill you have right now. And then they will just give you some options. I don't know. I will need to explore more if there's any wait time here.
Yeah, I mean, I suspect I think there's some creative marketing language they're using here and that everyone has a wait list. Just because there's not much new solar development going on in Massachusetts right now. So to your question earlier about like what Nexamp's waitlist is, like what I would tell someone is like just sign up for Nexamp, sign up for Ampian, sign up for Solar Gardens, like sign up for everyone that they're recommending, and whichever one puts you on first, it'll automatically sort of boot out the other ones. So
And
that
what's the term for folks when they sign up? How many years or?
is no commitment. It's just like subscription.
So it keeps rolling over every year? Or you don't have to re-sign up, do you?
No, I mean you have to sign a contract because it's like required by the DPU for like legal reasons, but it's not really a contract. It's essentially like an at-will subscription for the customer. They can cancel whenever they want.
So it's not like a 20-year or
No,
okay.
And
So you have to cancel it in order to get out of it.
exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Is there any notice required, Mike, for this? Like
Yeah.
you're easy free to cancel?
Yeah. Yeah, it can take like 3 months. So like with Nexamp, at least, if you called to cancel today, we could submit the cancellation request to National Grid today. But it might take them 3 months to actually do it. So like you might still get credits and still get bills from Nexamp even after you request to cancel, but then after 3 months or so, it should stop. But so like if you're moving in like, September, maybe like put in your cancellation request soon so that you can know it'll be finished before you'll be set to move.
Great. That helps. Thank you.
Mike, if you didn't cancel it and you sold your house and you moved.
Then it
and-
would stop. National Grid would send Nexamp a little error message and say, hey, this account is no longer active. Go find another one. But like the reason you'd want to cancel before is so say you're moving in September.
You're going to be
A lot of
piling
people
up
in
credits.
Massachusetts do. You would have accumulated a lot of these banked credits from the summer generation, and then you'd be canceling and if you're moving out of National Grid territory, you wouldn't be able to take those credits with you. So you'd want to give yourself like enough time to cancel it and use up all your banked credits before you move.
I was wondering because as I understand the net metering credit, it's tied to a meter as opposed to an account.
No, so you can
If they-
like call National Grid and be like, hey, I'm moving and I'll be opening this a new account, and they'll let you transfer that in most cases.
Well, I was just wondering, because it's tied to a meter as opposed to an account, if I was doing it and I just didn't do anything.
Yeah, it's
The next
different because
person-
it's not actually net metering. It's like virtual net metering essentially.
Yeah.
So it is tied to the account,
Okay.
as opposed to the meter as it is with solar. So like I have both solar and community solar, and they're like two different line items on my bill. I could show you if you're interested.
Yeah. So, Mike, I do have another question just about, and I don't know if you have any experience, or know what's going on, but isn't there a move to get some integrated billing? Because this whole double bill process is very confusing to customers. And I know that you folks in the community solar, I mean, it does not help you at all to have
No.
confusing system. What's the status on, is there any legislation or any pressure by the DPU to get integrated billing, or where do we stand with that?
Yeah, so there's sort of two things. One is something that we can do without the DPU, which is essentially through a system where, and we already have this available, and a few thousand customers of ours are already doing it, where if you're, through this portal, supply us with your National Grid login, we can then essentially intercept your National Grid bill and pay it on your behalf. And then we just then send you one bill from Nexamp that includes what you owe National Grid and what you owe Nexamp. So we call that like one bill. And if you sign up for that, we actually generally take you off the wait list faster. But separately, there's this other thing called utility consolidated billing, which would be where the utility National Grid would pay us for, or in other words, like the customer would pay National Grid for their community solar credits and what they owe, and then National Grid then pays Nexamp instead of the customer paying Nexamp. But that's like, we're doing that in Virginia and like some utilities in New York, but that's not yet a thing in Massachusetts.
Okay.
Yeah, it's evolving.
Okay. So here are some FAQs which I found at the Nexamp website. A lot of people who don't know about a community solar, it is great to explain them that it works like a subscription model. How it works is explain that subscribers buy a portion of the energy that is generated at the solar farm, and they get credits that apply to their bill. As we just talked about, that it might get confusing for a residents who want to sign up having two different bills. But as CECs, it would be great if we can help them explain the example, like how they would get one bill and it would be divided into two, and how a payment would work for this. And you can explain how it can save them money, about how they pay like in the summer and winter, and how much annual savings they can get. For the eligibility, they don't need to own a home. Anyone can sign up for a community solar. And then in the previous slides, I have added the link for Nexamp and Energy Sage, where you can compare different solar providers. And as a CEC, you can help them apply or like sign up online by uploading their bill, and it will help them confirm the enrollment.
Now, just one clarification, and is that once again, the bill has to be in the customer's name. So it doesn't apply when they are not. So a renter whose landlord covers the bill, or whatever, basically our experience is that in order to sign up for community solar, you have to have the bill in your name in order to do that.
Yeah. And then explaining them that they can also opt out anytime without penalties, but also depends upon the solar provider. As we saw in some of the options listed on the Energy Sage website, it listed that it is free to cancel by giving a 180 days prior notice. We already covered this, that as CECs, how you can help explain how a concept works and having them sign up online. Okay. We are done here. We have covered all the 3 sections. Thank you so much for your patience, for listening and adding your valuable thoughts. Are you all up for 3 quizzes?
I guess we are.
Sure.
One question first, and
Sure.
maybe you covered this yesterday in the session that I missed. But like, since primarily we're serving, seniors, do we anticipate that a bunch of them are gonna be interested in like solar and heat pumps and some of these like high capital investments that take, years to pay off, where they might say, oh, I might only be in my house for 5 more years before I move to a retirement home or something? Like, how are we thinking about approaching that?
Right. That's a very good point, which I talked about yesterday as well.
Okay.
So as we are focusing in this program for older adults, not everyone would want to upgrade to a heat pump or install a rooftop solar. So it is very important that we share the first step with them, which is scheduling a no-cost home energy assessment. I think even if a lot of people indulge in only the first step, and if they use the instant saving measures, even if they go to the second step, which may be maybe re-insulating their house or having any weatherization improvements, I think they can see great annual savings on their bills. And then as CECs, what would be great is also to let them know the option for a community solar. If anyone you are talking to specifically, they are interested in rooftop solar and heat pumps, which I'm guessing is not a lot, are looking at the focus of our program. But if there are people, we have the sources, we can help them. But not mostly, it would be great to share about the massive rebates that are available. And yes, talking about a community solar.
Got it.
About a payback period, which they won't, I mean, they're not thinking about it.
Is there a way to figure out what the real estate value would be to adding either one? Is there a way to quantify that?
Question.
Not anything that we'd want them to quote us on later.
Pardon me?
Not anything we'd want them to quote us on later.
Yeah, I know,
Personally.
exactly, exactly.
I mean, that's a good question, Molly. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. Is there kind of a standard? I mean, obviously it varies, but is there kind of a standard? I'm not aware. I haven't seen figures that like, oh yes, a heat pump raises your real estate, property,
Yeah.
value by X amount. I mean, I could ask. But I have not seen or heard those figures.
Well, I can ask our assessor also
Yeah.
in a couple weeks.
That's a good
and
idea.
see what she thinks. I mean, I would think that they would add this to the assessment of a home,
Yeah.
but I think it also depends. So there has to be some depreciation there. I don't know. I'll ask her.
I don't know about heat pumps, but I was just some hours back reading about rooftop solar, and some website said that there's a definite 2% increase in the property rate.
2%?
Value. Uh-huh.
2% value.
But I believe in Massachusetts, it does not affect the assessed value for taxes. At least that's what was going on when we were doing solarized campaigns.
Mm-hmm.
That was the information we were getting.
Yeah, because you don't really want it to be an
Right.
adder because then your tax rate is higher.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, well, let's see if we can confirm that. I think we can do some
I wonder what Zillow thinks about it.
Yeah.
Not that they're the end all answer, but they might have some. I would think that they would think about
It's
those
a good
things.
question. It's a good question. Good, something good to look into.
Okay. That just might be help people that are thinking about doing something, but maybe not staying in their house forever.
Well, yeah, and if you're, it's really got a lot to do with the age of your roof too.
Right, right.
And if we get like younger people who
Yeah,
want
that's fine.
coaching,
Yeah.
then we're not like turning them away, right?
No,
absolutely
definitely
not.
not. Definitely not.
Okay.
Yeah, no. I mean, this was just a way to, capture a group, mostly because we have this, senior center that's so active and has so much programming and
Yeah.
access. And, generally they have more time. We could go through the route of the schools, but people don't have quite as much time to deal with this kind of stuff.
Okay, this is our new,
We are still at heat pump,
okay.
the heat pumps one.
So
Is it in the chat or no?
Yes, I just put it in the chat.
And that's the code. Okay.
Okay, 425.
Should come right back up for everybody because it's right there.
Yeah, now I'm having to open a new, here, let me open a new.
Join my quiz.
Okay, here, I'm starting again.
I think I am guessing if your screen, like if it locks, it would take you out of the quiz.
Yeah, I think mine got taken out. So I'm back in though.
Okay. Yeah, I mean also while taking the quiz, just like make sure that the screen is on for the whole time. It won't kick you out. Okay, perfect. Everyone here. Let's get started. Okay, everyone got the slide. Awesome.
I don't remember this one.
I think someone did not answer.
Me, I didn't answer. I couldn't remember which.
Say $1 million.
It's actually changing. They're
Unlikely to
bringing
be
it down
good.
from 10,000.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It
They're
was going
running
to
out
be
of money.
lower. I didn't know when they did that.
Yeah.
Have they done it yet?
I believe so. Yeah, I
I
think
think
I
so,
got
too.
one of the last 10,000s.
Yeah. I thought it went down in September or something, but whatever. Next question.
Wow.
Excellent questions, Ariha.
Thank you.
Oh, okay, I got that wrong.
Residential
I was
cleaning.
too quick. I was too quick.
Oh, I ran out of time.
REC. I think
Yeah.
the
But
way
that wasn't the right name.
Well, yeah, she mentioned it once, but it has another name in
Yeah,
the-
it had that's why I thought it was wrong. I
Yeah.
thought I thought it was a trick question.
It is a trick question.
was
Because it's Inflation Reduction Act.
Right.
That's why I was
Oh, well.
confused. Okay, whatever.
okay.
Yay for the
Good
end.
work, guys.
Okay. Ooh,
Right,
Nikki.
Nikki. Woo! Mike, don't worry. We don't know why there's first and second when everyone gets it right.
It must
I think
be
it's-
like the speed you answer, maybe.
Yeah, that's what I
Yep.
was thinking too.
Definitely.
Oh, it is speed of answer. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember playing this game once before. Yep.
Nice job, Nikki.
Oh God.
Just not fast enough to beat Mike.
Okay, that's the number for rooftop solar quiz.
Oh, are we still going, are we?
Yes, we have two
Oh,
more.
okay.
Wait, how do I?
Yeah, Nathan, you wanted to do them all at once.
Oh, you're right. Okay, okay.
All right. Okay, where was I?
So wait, how do I sign into a new one?
Yeah.
I
You
just
just-
dropped the link in the chat. You can either use that or use your phone to scan the QR code or
But
just put it in the computer.
I can't find it. I can't find it.
I'm in a browser here and I don't see anything that says, oh, you know.
Yeah, me too. I'm having a little trouble here.
I try clicking on the link which
Uh,
is dropped in the
All right, I
chat.
think I got something here.
Okay.
Oh, I don't know where I am.
Now it's not letting me in.
Did you try from the link, Mike?
Well, I was already in it.
Yeah.
And
No,
then I,
Right.
so the same link won't work. This is another quiz, so you have to click on the new link which I just dropped in the chat.
Yeah, I can't get to the link.
well, the link is joinmyquiz.com pro. Right?
Is there anything else after the quiz?
Yeah.
No.
No, okay, because I need to go. I have a lot.
No,
to
there
do.
is. No, there is. There's the follow-up
There's
survey and
Yes.
There's what?
we have
It
a
is a post-event survey. Yesterday we did a pre-event. It would
Okay.
take just 2 minutes. I think we can wrap up in the next 10 minutes, Molly.
yeah, or folks, I mean, obviously this quiz activity is fun, but if we-
You know what? You can continue. I'll do my work while you guys finish the quizzes, and then when you're ready for that, I'll jump back in. So I'm just going to listen. I'm not going to answer.
okay.
Sure, sounds good.
Okay, yeah, I can't seem to get in. So, is there a code? Because that's the only thing it's given me here.
Yeah, sure. You can also try the code. It's 465252.
I'm sorry, 465.
252.
Okay. See if that works.
There you
Okay.
are.
There I am. Ah,
So,
And now what's going to happen is since Molly's not playing, we're going to have to wait out the clock on all of these. Okay. Ooh.
This one's hard.
This one's hard. I don't know the answer to this.
I think it might actually be quarterly now instead of monthly.
Yeah, I got it wrong.
No, it's the monthly checks. Good job, guys. We are done with this one.
Okay.
Hey, Mike.
Got my revenge.
Okay, we have one last one.
Yeah. And what's the code, please, Aria?
Sure, I'll just generate it now.
Okay.
Okay, it's 232357. And I have also dropped the link in the chat. Awesome.
Okay. Sorry, I have to just take a quick call here. Yeah, hey. Yeah, but just a minute, let me hear.
Wow, so quick.
Now that we know it's speed based, we're all trying to get it as fast as possible. Also, I can't embarrass myself and not win this one.
Is this too easy?
No, we're too smart. The end.
Okay.
Nice.
It's perfect. Great work, guys. I just have something else which I want to share. Again, I have added the links to Rewiring America. That's one of the courses. If you want to become an expert in any of the core areas we just discussed, feel free to visit here and learn more. And then another resource which I shared was about Clean Energy Lives Here. I just want to show this one. If you go to the clean energy solutions here, you can learn a lot more about weatherization, different kinds of heat pumps, solar appliances, EVs. A lot of resources are here. So this is a great website, I feel. And then just to wrap up, we have a post-event survey. Molly, are you here? I just dropped the link.
Yes. Yep.
Take 2 minutes to take
Is
this.
it, where is it? Oh,
We'd appreciate, this is just on the training, so we'd appreciate if everybody just took just 2 minutes to fill this out.
okay. That's in the chat?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm having trouble getting back again.
I don't see it in the chat.
But you can also just click on it. Oh yeah, no, you're right. Sorry. Yeah, you'd have to click on it from the chat.
Yeah. Okay, got it.
If you're done, please show a thumbs up so we know you have taken. Okay. Great. Molly's done.
I'm done too, Aria. I'm trying to get here.
Great. So we are waiting for Mike Spyro.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I finished it.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
All right.
Great,
So
thank you.
congratulations, everyone. You are all officially clean energy counselors for EFG program. I thank you so much for staying with us for 4 hours for the trainings, and you have taken the first step. And we really appreciate your time, your support, and I look forward to learning a lot from you and working with you, collaborating with you for the program. And I would encourage you to start conversations about the program in your circles. Small talks lead to big change. Talking with your neighbors, your friends, or anyone you can think of who might who can help right now with any clean energy upgrades. And yeah, that's it.
Thank you, Ariha. Great job putting this all
Thank
together.
you.
Thank you.
You.
Are you going to send out the 2 sets of slide decks? Because they've got some links in them that I wanted to check out.
Yeah.
Me
Sure.
too.
Yeah,
And Ariha will be gone for a couple weeks, but she'll be back.
yeah. Yeah, and then I would just like to say, from Mass Energize side, thank you all for your time, for your willingness to participate. And really, this is a community effort. And we, as I said yesterday, we are not the experts. We are simply the ones who are trying to help generate interest and support for clean energy activities, but we really rely on you and your expertise, your knowledge. And we have such a highly skilled group here. So I just want to thank you for sharing your time and skills and making this, a community-led program. So again, my
thank you
thanks
for
from
make-
Mass Energize.
Yeah, well, thank you guys for making it happen. Nathan,
Yeah, for sure.
it's been a great partnership so far, and I think it will continue to be. And
Great.
thanks for everybody volunteering to help out.
Yeah.
Thanks, you guys.
All right,
Okay, thanks everybody.
All right,
Bye-bye.
take care.
Yep.